Hi. The answer is yes, I did just record these two videos back to back. Welcome back again to the Mad Doc Productions channel. This is going to be the beginning of a new series that I think I'm going to call the Misadventures of Doc. It's just going to be short stories about crazy things my friends and I have done while playing D&D. A little bit of backstory about me. I started playing D&D about 10 years ago when I was a freshman in college at Purdue. I was in a learning community, which if you don't know what that is, it's the same group of people all live in a single hall in a dorm, and we all take the same classes, usually for at least 2 or 3 years. Made a lot of really close friends, and I still game with them. So over the last 10 years, we've got a lot of what I think are really good stories. So I think to start this series out, I'm going to start with our very first campaign and my very first character. When we started to jump into, I want to say it was 4th edition, and we did a day of character creation, and then came back and decided to run something in Pathfinder and scrapped what we had done. So I was looking at what type of character I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to play some type of undead. I think what I settled on was I wanted to try and be like a vampire spawn. The problem being that we were starting at like 2nd or 3rd level, and the lowest level vampire you could be is something like an equivalent level 8 character. But it was something I really wanted to do. And so the DM made a deal with me. It was like, if you can make another character and play him until we get to level 8, then you can kill that character off and roll up this vampire that you want to play. And we'll deal with, the level incompatibility when we get there. So I said, okay, what can I make that everybody in the party is going to hate and they'll be glad he's gone here? And I was thinking like a month, but in reality, it probably only would have been a couple of weeks of playing, because freshman year, we goofed off a lot, and I think we played pretty much every night for months on end. It was a really good introduction to the world of D&D and Pathfinder for me. I was like, okay, goblins. Everybody hates goblins. It's the thing that most people starting out at low levels, you get thrown against, and you kill lots of them over the course of your D&D career. So I made Scree, the Goblin Rogue Ranger. I think we started level 3, because I think I started 2 levels in Rogue, 1 level in Ranger. In our party, there was Scree, and then we had Bakura, who was a Draxylvanian barbarian. And I think in one of the later sessions, or in the next video, I'll kind of detail our world a little bit more before I really get into our campaign. We had Davy, who was a druid and had a wolf animal companion, whose name I don't remember currently. We had Chugo, who was a fighter, and we had Cliff's Edge, who was a bard. I feel like I might be missing a player, but I think that was it for our first session at least. I'm going to feel awful if I post this and someone's like, hey, what about my character? But so 5 of us start out. We all get hauled into this magistrate's office in this little bitty town. They'd had a lot of people going crazy and acting out, and so they were rounding up anybody who wasn't a member of the town to ask them questions. So it was us and some random chick that we didn't know, NPC. And we were all young players. We were all stupid. We were doing things like ransacking his desk while he wasn't in the room. I tried hiding under the desk. He comes in, sees me. Davy signals his wolf to growl at the guy so that he won't react to me. I try picking his pocket and fail. So you've got me under the desk, reaching up, and he's just slapping my hand away. It was dumb, but it was a lot of fun. And the other lady who was with us, when he went to ask her a question, she goes crazy. She just starts spewing this black miasma out of her mouth, screaming about Noslordu coming, and proceeds to attack the magistrate. And so the 5 of us jump in to protect him. And never really played before, didn't really know what to do. I think I tried hitting her once and failed. Other party members were doing some decent damage. And I finally jumped up and grappled her. I was like, that's what that'll be my thing. So I just start screaming and I jump and I wrap my arms around her neck. She goes and she spends her turn grabbing me and throwing me to the floor. Everybody else gets a hit in, gets back to my turn. I jump up, wrap my arms around her head. Her turn, she grabs me, throws me to the floor. Do it again. Next turn, the wolf gets a trip off on her. She trips, falls out the window. I manage to grab the ledge before she falls to her death. Big explosion of black miasma. And that was kind of the start of the craziness that we would end up being. Magistrate didn't like what was going on, and he sent us to this local wizard several miles away. And when we get to him, he has no room for our antics and offers to pay us to go and check out these farmers nearby that had missed checking in with him. I'm a little fuzzy on the details. It was 10 years ago. But we get to this farmhouse, and dead of night, there are no lights on in the house. We can all kind of smell blood, which is impressive since most of the characters were not known for having keen senses. And we were told that we could hear sounds in the house and sounds in a shed out back of the farmhouse. And we decided as a party that we're going to go check out the shed. So we get there, and like big red barn. Barn doors are open. There's nobody inside, but there's a big pit in the floor that drops down like 15 feet and then disappears off into the distance. And we're like, what do we do? Do we do a light? Well, if we do a light, then somebody might see it. We might get attacked. So we ended up, I was like, hey, goblins have dark vision. I'll go check it out and see what it is. So I jump down in the hole, go, it ends up going down like 60 feet, and it ends in some big room. And I can see some guy in a black cloak is drawing symbols on the wall in what I believe to be blood. And there are like half a dozen undead in the room. I go back and I tell the party, hey, this is what I see. And the party's like, okay, what can we do? Well, if we go in, we're going to alert them. And I forget who came up with the idea. But basically, somebody reached into their bag and pulled out a 100-foot rope, and they tied it around Scree's waist. And I go back down the hallway to the guy. I had rolled stealth. Wasn't great, but, I thought it was okay. It helped that it's perfect darkness, and this guy that we assume is the necromancer probably won't have dark vision. I think I could tell that he was human. But I get up to him, and I do a grapple attempt, and I roll a natural 1. The game's like, so you basically go to grab him, and you trip and fall flat on your face. Like, crap. Guy turns around, kind of swings out. I think he ended up like pulling a knife or something. But anyway, he doesn't hit me, doesn't see me. And somebody's like, maybe he assumes it was one of the undead bumping into him. He was like, yeah, that's plausible. He could not see me in the darkness. Comes back around to me, grapple again, and succeed this time. Give 2 tugs on the rope, and the party grabs the rope and rips Scree with the necromancer back out of this hole, drags him the whole 60 yards, and we all lay into the guy and kill him. GM was kind of like, okay, yeah, that works. Undead come running after, but we'd already killed the guy who made them, so worked out well for us. And that was kind of the first session, maybe session and a half of the first game we played of D&D. So that's kind of going to be what these are like. I hope you'll enjoy them. Hope they're funny. They'll probably seem very focused on me. I'll try and include other stories, but at least the earlier ones, what I'm going to remember the best are the ones that I was directly involved with. But hopefully I can get some more in there. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. You guys have a good night.